When someone is diagnosed with autism, they may be told that they have level 1, level 2, or level 3 autism. The levels don't describe how autistic someone is, they describe how much support a person is likely to need in everyday life. And that's an important distinction to make because labels that were commonly used in the past, such as high functioning and low functioning, often overlooked people's individual challenges or underestimated their abilities. With that said, let's start with level 1, requiring support. People with level 1 autism generally need the least amount of support, but that doesn't mean they don't face significant challenges in their lives. Many people with level 1 autism communicate fluently and attend mainstream schools, colleges, or workplaces, but because of this, their difficulties are often less obvious to other people who may assume that they're coping much better than they really are. One of the biggest challenges is learning what some call the unwritten rulebook of social communication. Most neurotypical people seem to naturally pick up these social rules, but for someone with level 1 autism, they don't come instinctively. Skills like understanding sarcasm, reading facial expressions and body language, knowing when it's the right time to speak, or recognizing when someone wants to change the subject can all require conscious effort rather than happening automatically. Some people may unintentionally steer conversations back to topics that they're passionate about without realizing that others are ready to move on. Others may say exactly what they're thinking without realizing that their words could be interpreted as blunt or insensitive, even though they never intended to cause any offense. In my work as an educational psychologist, I've met many autistic people, and I've come to appreciate that this direct style of communication can be a real strength. Many autistic people are valued for being honest, genuine, and straightforward, and those qualities can make them trusted friends and dependable colleagues. People with level 1 autism often find changes to routines stressful, even when those changes seem quite minor to other people. Sensory differences are common. Busy supermarkets, fluorescent lighting, certain clothing fabrics, or loud environments can quickly become overwhelming. People with level 1 autism can also be very aware of the fact that they experience social situations and sensory stimuli differently, so they may worry more about saying the wrong thing. As a result, many spend years consciously or unconsciously masking their autistic traits. This might include forcing eye contact even when it's uncomfortable, rehearsing conversations in advance, copying other people's facial expressions or gestures, suppressing stimming behaviours or sensory difficulties, or carefully studying how other people interact socially. Now, while masking can sometimes help someone fit in, it often comes at a significant cost. Constantly monitoring and adjusting your behaviour takes an enormous amount of mental energy. And over time, this can lead to anxiety, exhaustion, a loss of identity, and what is commonly known as autistic burnout, which is a state of intense physical, mental, and emotional exhaustion caused by the prolonged effort of coping with everyday demands. This is one reason why many professionals, myself included, don't recommend insisting that autistic people make eye contact. As well as being uncomfortable or overwhelming, it can take so much mental effort that it actually becomes harder for them to listen, process information, and think about what they want to say. People with level 1 autism may also display repetitive self-stimulatory behaviours, often referred to as stimming. This might include physical behaviours like hand flapping, rocking, pacing, verbal behaviours such as humming or repeating words or sounds, or visual behaviours like staring at lights or rapid blinking. These are only a handful of examples, and there are many more that I could add. With people with level 1 autism, these behaviours aren't always obvious to other people. Some people may mask their stimming in public and only feel comfortable doing it at home or in other safe environments. So, although someone with level 1 autism may appear to be coping well on the outside, they may be working incredibly hard behind the scenes just to navigate situations that other people find effortless. Level 2, requiring substantial support. People diagnosed with level 2 autism usually require more consistent support in their daily lives. Their communication differences also seem to be more noticeable. Some people may use shorter sentences, repeat words or phrases they've heard before, a behaviour known as echolalia, or find it difficult to start or keep conversations going. Others may rely more heavily on familiar social scripts they've learned over time or alternative ways of communicating. Their interests are often much more intense and can be difficult to interrupt or redirect. Conversations may revolve almost entirely around these preferred topics, making back and forth conversation challenging. They may also find it difficult to recognise when someone else wants to change the subject. All of these communication difficulties can be seen in level 1 autism, but at level 2, social interactions often require more support. Another common characteristic of level 2 autism is a greater degree of rigidity, sometimes referred to as cognitive inflexibility. What this means is that adapting to changes in plans, switching between tasks, or seeing things from another person's perspective can be much more difficult. And it's not simply a preference for doing things a certain way. It reflects a genuine difficulty adapting when expectations suddenly change. Because of this, changes to routines or unexpected events can cause significant distress. Imagine someone who catches the same bus to work every morning, and then one day they arrive and find the route has been diverted because of roadworks. Many people would simply look for another bus or find a different route, but for someone with level 2 autism, that unexpected change may trigger intense anxiety. They may struggle to think clearly, become overwhelmed, or find it difficult to work out an alternative plan without some help from another person. This rigidity can also affect problem solving and everyday conversations. Once someone has formed a plan or reached a conclusion, it may be much harder for them to consider alternative ideas or approaches. Now, this could easily be misinterpreted as stubbornness or an unwillingness to cooperate, but it comes down to a difficulty with cognitive flexibility. Sensory differences often have a much greater impact on everyday life. Being unusually sensitive to sounds, lights, textures, smells, or crowded environments can make places such as shopping centres or school dining halls extremely overwhelming. As a result, some people begin avoiding these environments altogether because the sensory demands are just too much. Many people with level 2 autism also display stimming. Like people with level 1 autism, they may rock, flap their hands, repeat words or phrases, or manipulate objects in repetitive ways. However, these behaviours may be more frequent, more noticeable, particularly during periods of stress, anxiety, or sensory overload. Although stimming may look unusual to other people, it usually serves an important purpose. It can help regulate emotions, reduce anxiety, cope with sensory overload, or express excitement. This is why it's generally more helpful to understand what the person is trying to communicate or regulate rather than just trying to stop the stimming. As long as the stimming behaviour is safe, allowing someone to stim can be an important way of helping them feel calmer and more comfortable. Many people with level 2 autism may also need more support with everyday self-care and independent living. This doesn't necessarily mean they can't look after themselves, but tasks such as planning and preparing meals, managing household chores, organising appointments, or maintaining personal hygiene can become overwhelming without routines, reminders, or practical support. Level 3, requiring very substantial support. Level 3 autism describes people who require the highest level of support in their everyday lives. Many of these individuals experience significant developmental delays during childhood and may have reached important milestones such as walking or talking much later than expected. Some use very little spoken language or may not speak at all, instead communicating through pictures, sign language, or communication devices. That said, it's important not to assume that someone who doesn't communicate using spoken language has little understanding of the world around them. In many cases, people understand far more than they're able to say. People with level 3 autism usually need substantial support with everyday living. This may include help with personal care, getting dressed, preparing meals, travelling safely, managing routines, and making everyday decisions. Some people require support throughout most of the day to help them stay safe and participate in daily life. Rigidity and inflexibility are often much more pronounced at this level. Even relatively small changes to familiar routines, environments, or expectations can be extremely distressing. This may lead to overwhelming anxiety, emotional dysregulation, or what are commonly known as meltdowns or shutdowns. Sensory differences also tend to have a much greater impact. Everyday experiences such as the sound of a vacuum cleaner, bright supermarket lights, certain clothing textures, or busy environments can become intensely overwhelming. For some people, managing these sensory experiences is one of the biggest challenges they face each day. Stimming may also be more frequent or more noticeable. Now, at this point, you might be wondering why autism has 3 levels in the first place. This is actually a relatively new way of describing autism. Back before 2013, people were often diagnosed with conditions such as Asperger syndrome, autistic disorder, or atypical autism. The problem was that these categories weren't always clear-cut. There was so much overlap between them that 2 clinicians could sometimes assess the same person and give them different diagnoses. As researchers learned more about autism, they realised that it wasn't a collection of separate conditions. Instead, autism exists on a spectrum, with people showing different combinations of strengths, differences, and support needs. As a result, these separate diagnoses were combined under one umbrella diagnosis of Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD. Now, whether you consider autism to be a condition or a disorder is a topic for another video. To decide the level, clinicians focus on 2 main areas. The first is social communication. This includes things like taking part in back and forth conversations, understanding non-verbal cues such as facial expressions, tone of voice, gestures, developing relationships, and responding appropriately in different social situations. The second is restricted or repetitive behaviours. This includes routines, repetitive movements, highly focused interests, sensory differences, and how someone copes with change. One interesting point that many people don't realise is that according to the DSM-5, a diagnosis should consider a support level for each of these 2 areas separately. In other words, someone might need level 1 support for social communication, but level 2 support for restricted and repetitive behaviours, or the other way around. And I've seen this diagnosis a few times. However, in practice, many assessment reports simply describe someone as having level 1, level 2, or level 3 autism, or just autism. Even so, it's worth remembering that a person's support needs aren't always the same across both areas. It's also worth keeping in mind that these levels aren't fixed. As people develop new skills, gain life experience, and receive the right support, the amount of support they need can change. Equally, periods of stress, illness, or autistic burnout can temporarily increase a person's support needs. Autism is an incredibly diverse spectrum, and no 2 autistic people are exactly alike. Every individual has their own unique combination of strengths, challenges, interests, and goals. For example, someone with level 1 autism may experience more anxiety than someone with level 2, while someone with level 3 autism may understand far more than they're able to express. Ultimately, the most important thing isn't the number attached to a diagnosis, it's understanding the individual behind it. Because when we move beyond labels and focus on a person's strengths, challenges, and support needs, we're far better placed to help them thrive.